the match. I'm done.
Hey, we got the ban phase. TSM's gonna get rid of Hibana.
Hibana
Yeah,
is
okay.
banned, by the
It's
way.
interesting because TSM was the team that used Hibana most often. In fact, it was Merc, I believe, who was playing really, really well on Hibana. And, well, she's gone. That's going to make defending the basement a lot easier, as will this Capitao ban. Getting rid of Capitao is going to be, a pretty impactful ban. But let's just look. See, how much does TSM use Capitao when available? They play him 82% of the time when he's available, and when they play him, he's actually the second highest contributor to success on the attacking side as ops go for TSM. So another possibly statistic ban there for, or statistic-based ban for TZ. Right. And then the defensive bans will be Valkyrie and Wilmai, which are pretty bog standard.
CCTV cache defense will be the first place that they will go on, and TSM will be starting on defense yet again. They chose this side, whereas DZ would have chose it for map number 1. Obviously, defending on Clubhouse tends to be a more favorable side to go on. Not always the case, though. Things can be tossed on their head. I don't know. Looking at these operator bans, and Echo as well is still not in play. We need to remind everybody.
Do we?
Echo is, I'm sorry?
No, carry on.
No, what'd you say?
Echo is not allowed to be played. Yeah.
No, that's what I said. What did you say?
He's in quarantine because he's broken. Sometimes you can't shoot his drone.
Can we talk about how funny the demonstration that Veli did is, by the way? I was dying of laughter.
That was some good stuff there.
Absolutely outstanding. He's just, all I hear is we're waiting to go live, and he's like, oh, I've got an idea, I've got an idea. How long do I have?
It was one of the better plays in that map. Even though TSM lost the map overall, that retake by Geo was actually pretty massive. He pretty much won 2 fights he shouldn't have and got the C4 on a really crucial spot. So yeah, that was great from him. Ooh, that's some.
Yeah, might be one of the funniest things I've.
That's why they pay Veli the big bucks.
That is correct. So he can then blow it on ugly ties.
That presentation segment. That's where 90% of
$10 says I get an angry message from him about, like, you don't talk about my ties like that. Well, Veli, if you don't want me talking about your ties like that, you should buy nicer looking ties. I'm not mincing words here, Michael. All right.
I'm pretty sure he just buys it as a meme.
We have filled our maximum allotted amount of banter time.
So Merc taking some early damage here after the wall gets opened up. Hot and Cold will Maverick trick it, and you'll see Eclipse on the buck open up the soft portion. That's a good start there for DZ. Very efficient use of the Maverick blowtorch from Hot and Cold. He didn't get any kills last map, but maybe this is the map. And, well, at least on the utility front, he's been doing a whole lot for his team, so that is worth noting. DZ is going to be doing a pinch here between server and workshop. You can see them setting that up right now. They get the information. They get the control. Half round mark now, and it's been a decently quick one overall. So this is pretty good for the attack. Hyper was trying to set up a flank drone there, but whoops.
Yes.
He missed. Yeah.
He missed. Well, the good news is that if it happens to still be in line of sight of Achieve, then it will catch him. Merc has taken some damage. That's it so far. A minute to go. This round has gone by very quickly. But they need to watch their flank.
Oh.
I don't know how that impact did not work, but exothermic charge goes off. It reveals Merc's position. If you're Achieved and you want to strike on main stairs, now is the time to do it. You got to get going. If Achieved is even still in that location at all. In between a rock and a hard place is Merc in the corner of Cash. He'll get killed through the floor and or the wall and or we don't really know where, to be completely honest. Hyper credited with that very first pick. Chala shrugs off some damage as he engages over at the top of red stairs. He's got 2 breach holes that he's going to need to keep an eye on. So far, a strong entry from DZ has net them quite a lot of damage to their opponents. But Chala has the protection of a reinforcement. He'll toss out one of those toxic canisters. Achieved is on the top of main stairs. Here's his flank about to come into action. But Hyper is inside of logistics. Achieved manages to evade him for now. He doesn't have an entry through Gym, so he's going to have to go elsewhere. But now Hyper's fallen off of that position. It's time for Achieved to be able to capitalize on this. The rest of his team might end up falling, but there he is. He takes out Eclipse. He's got the play from the back. 1 second left, and he's the hero of the round as TSM takes it as the clock strikes 0. The flank coming in at the perfect time for Achieved, and TSM take round number 1.
Massive flank there for Achieved, and you gotta wonder how that happened. We know from the early round that DZ had at least 2 drones set up on the main stairs holding for that flank, and it's really an easy call. Clearly, though, the members of DZ, as they were felled, did not get onto drones quickly enough. So TSM, or Achieved specifically in this case, able to use that window of opportunity to get behind the attack and wreak absolute havoc. Good start there for TSM. They take their first round, but wow, what a hectic round. Despite the fact that TSM won it, they were this close from the jaws of defeat. It's always weird when I see you say this close, because everyone knows what you mean.
Why?
Well,
Why
because
is that
everyone knows
weird?
what you mean, right? But nobody can see my fingers. I'm doing it. I'm doing the thumb and forefinger. I'm just, you can't see it, though. But everyone at the same time knows. And I just find that weird. It's going to be Rome on the top floor here for TSM, as you can see.
I'm not throwing you a lifeline when you say things like that. I'm just going to let you suffer in
You're going
silence.
to do me like that. Okay. Trying to teach me a
100%.
lesson, Parker? I refuse to learn it.
5 seconds to go.
There are so many political jokes I wanted to make.
Oh, I am the problem! Kappa.
Oh. Anywho. All right. Let's that first round really did come down to the flank watch. You have to think there is no Nomad ban, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
If she is brought, which she's not always a given, in fact, we actually don't see that much of her on a map like Clubhouse, but if she had been brought, or at least somebody had been actively sitting on that flank drone, they probably would have seen Achieved at that point. So, unfortunately for the DZ faithful, wasn't the case, and Achieved was a huge difference maker. The rest of the team did a pretty good job from TSM's side at just wasting a lot of time. Chala in particular seemed like he was dead meat very early on. He was the last person that died, if I remember correctly, before that clock hit 0. So pretty incredible staying power from him. And those toxic canisters obviously really smartly placed to funnel DZ in through the areas where Chala could then capitalize off of it. He got a kill for his trouble with that with the shotgun out, and was obviously impactful enough on yet another. Bolo getting hunted down, by the way. He's not going to be able to swing onto Skies. He does a substantial amount of damage, but the ace solo entering not too far off a hot and cold, but still largely on his own inside a strip club, will lead off this round.
That's a really good start there for DZ, but it took a lot of time. You could see there is a Malusi on the server window. He will break it and take out Mint. That is your Thatcher gone. So, no Kaid in play here, but he would be really useful if that pick had come with him in play. For now, though, it's just going to be the Mute Jammer, so probably the church wall won't get opened up, which allows the mirror windows to be more powerful. DZ trying to get that frag back. Merc stuck inside a workshop. He used the C4 to try and get aggressive. It did some damage, but no kill. You can see the Malusi attempting to retreat as well. Drone destroyed there, and that'll be called out. The Mute's position known, and Cliff just takes the fight and wins it. Now, DZ with the manpower advantage, but luckily, TSM have managed to rotate all of their players back to the site. And they even have mirror windows to make this hold that much easier. An aggressive play on the main stairs could catch out one of the players on DZ, but it's not going to happen as Pulse is droned in his position and will be forced to fall back.
Gio will give himself some information as he looks for the safety and comfort of the bomb site, hoping to stop any hard destruction that could possibly go off onto that kitchen hatch. A pre-placed C4 with information in hand with that cardiac sensor, and Eclipse better watch where he walks, because all it's going to take is a simple press of a button. And there it goes, but it's poorly timed. Eclipse wastes and expends the last of his utility. Maybe not much of a waste at all. Achieved with another kill. That's his second on the round. He's not going to get much more as DZ come to blows with TSM, leaving Geo pistol in hand to try and stop hot and cold. but you're going to have to cover him appropriately. Dying seconds, what a clutch from Geo. No coverage from DZ. Goodness, that comes out of nowhere. Extremely well played. TSM take their second round in a row.
That is a heartbreaker right there for DarkZero, and now 2 rounds in a row where DZ hold the advantage in every conceivable way and then lose the round because they don't watch their flanks adequately. Well played to Geo, well played to TSM, and what a round to take. Now, DZ have got to be frustrated with that. They're going to have to win on Jim, which, you know, should be the easiest attack for DZ in this map. But still, this scoreline could really easily be looking the exact opposite of what it is right now. And there's no real way to shake that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty evident for even the most or the newest and inexperienced of viewers that this has very easily been a coin toss of a matchup. It could be 2-0 for DZ right now, which is not always something that we see. I mean, obviously the score lines don't tell the full story. Sometimes a 7-5 could be a lot more one-sided, despite the fact that the scoreline suggests that it came down to the wire. Those could have been rounds where there was no real question as to who won them. So far, I mean, you've got to give a lot of credit to TSM for the way that they've played this, but ultimately there have been more mistakes committed by DarkZero. Their inability to hold down on flank despite, you know, knowing that there was somebody coming on flank from Achieved. I mean, I guess that the time meant that you weren't going to be able to do much in that very first round when Achieved decided to strike. And you have to get going. You can't really fault Hyper for that, but still, if there's a drone or somebody's dead and is watching it as there was an earlier death for DZ, they could have possibly spotted Achieved, or at least let know that the drone was taken out. In that second round, obviously, the big mistake that we saw was that they didn't have any intel and nobody was watching where that defuse was. I think the last remaining member of DarkZero that wasn't hot and cold was inside a blue. So you could have, in theory, you could have very easily seen somebody that was pushing from that church wall anyway.
That was a nice C4 there, but to no avail. Bolo's going to go for a run out here. He's just waiting for his opportunity. He will have, actually, he does have an opportunity right now, whether he knows it or not, but he's been droned out and the opportunity slips away. They will be ever vigilant of the run out, but I think that might have been what Bolo was going for. After Wall gets Maverick tricked open, instead of Hot and Cold trying to rotate by vaulting over the balcony and going to the safe route, he will try to peek the breach and die. TSM take the man advantage at about the half round mark. A little bit of clear going on there for the various different things in the hallway. Barbed wire, Goyo, shield, and the job is now done. Merc, though, still will be contesting the wall. He's got the mirror window to do just that with, and he's going to be very, very proficient, you have to imagine, on a spot like that. He's even got support of Chala on this long angle. So this will be a devastating push if DC decides to commit to it. Obviously, though, they're more likely to commit to other routes.
This is going to be a game of cat and mouse right now to see what can happen, but TSM has the upper hand in terms of kills and will continue to do better as Eclipse gets finished off by Bolo, and we saw a push up from Merc into, Chala rather, my apologies. I'm so used to seeing Merc play this Maestro that it's just almost muscle memory at this point. Chala sitting inside of the rotate hole. He's going to be very apprehensive when it comes to getting pushed from the windows, and he's also got his back turned to that jacuzzi wall and is very vulnerable in the spot if the weights behind him don't fully cover him. He gets a read that somebody's outside, either it's a sound cue or coming from his teammates, but he can't do anything other than light up the window frame. He'll just sit and wait for now. DZ having a bit of difficulty trying to find where to pressure from, as they've already had some issues, and now it looks like it could be a flawless round. Achieved had the cross, and there you have it. It was just a formality after those first two picks. TSM have come alive here on Clubhouse and have now completed a full cycle. They're up 3-0.
That was the first round that DZ kind of didn't show up to, which is curious, especially on a gym attack of all sites. So what happened there? Well, DZ attempted to go for a cutoff in Workshop. That's why they opened up the single wall. They were trying to pinch onto the anchor, or rather the roamer, inside of Cash. And that would have given DZ a one-man advantage, assuming they do it flawlessly. They cut off the rotation. Okay, that roamer can't retreat. Now we just open up the wall and from server to cache. We pick off that player. Huzzah, man advantage established. Execute onto the site. But strangely, DarkZero didn't even try to clear out cache. So I guess they were opening the wall just to deny the rotation of the cache player. Now that's very confusing because the cache player can cut off the vault from the south balcony. And we had DZ players trying to vault the south balcony, which means that they willingly exposed themselves to a a player on the defense that they knew to be inside of cache. That's not a strategy, so I'm a little bit confused. That's very unusual for DarkZero. And yeah, the whole round kind of seemed like DZ was just sputtering about, trying to figure out what to actually do. It seems like they had the setup for the strat, they had the idea, the execution just was not there. And yeah, unfortunate for DZ. We'll see if they make changes moving forward. They're now going to go to a cache attack, though, and they've been playing better on this side at the very least, even if they haven't been winning it.
Yes. I would say that even despite the scoreline, TSM have looked better on this map than they have on Consulate. You know, I know that's a point which we're going to agree upon.
I concur.
But thank you, Michael.
I'm sorry.
glad. It's going to be one of those days. Nothing but laughs with my good friend Kickstar.
Wow. All right. Well, now you made it awkward. Anyway.
Wow, that was heartfelt, and now I feel spurred.
What are you talking about? What was that voice? Aw, Parker. Aw, do you need a hug?
Michael, I was actually wrong, by the way, about what laptop.
Oh yeah, which one's that?
It's the Helios 700, not that I misnamed it.
Well, yeah, okay. Whoops.
It's the Helios 700.
Yeah, and I have the Triton 500, I believe. Oh.
Oh, what a shot from Achieved, by the way.
That is a...
He's going to get punished for it. 50% of his HP removed, but he's still coming out of that one obviously better off than engaging with it, especially taking down Hyper. TSM are just an unstoppable force right now. They're going to try to meet an immovable object as... Oh, that's as free a kill as Bolo is going to get. I don't know if Mint was on his phone or not, but he gets picked off trying to return fire after Achieve had been punished down below. So DZ with a minute left. They've got 3 bodies to TSM's 4. TSM also chalked to the gill with utility. A small explosive leading from Lounge will put hot and cold on Pursuit, and the Malusi of Bolo will just be a little bit better. Diffuser being pinged out as Gia will retake down below, and Eclipse and Skies will now have an even harder job. They're not doing too bad of it, though, as they find 2 kills to immediately equalize, and Skies has another in his line of sight. The Diffuser will be the bigger task. There goes Geo. This was a 2v4 for DZ, and now it's a 2v1. Chala will have to be the hero against both Skies and Eclipse. All 3 of these gentlemen have been involved in the professional scene since the dawn of time. A lot of experience at the moment. There goes a toxic canister to try and stop them. 1 kill for Chala. He picks off Skies. Wall opened up. It's going to need to be Eclipse as he looks for the flash, but Chala's playing against it beautifully. No, he misses the shot, but he doesn't miss the second time. 4-0 for TSM.
Big ups to Chala. That first missed shot was a little bit sus, but he managed to get it in the end. So, what happened there? Well, at the beginning of the round, Bolo was the unsolvable problem to DZ's attack. In Lounge, he wreaked absolute havoc, preventing the clear underneath, preventing the clear in Garage, and just overall doing very well. Not only in delaying, preventing, and killing, but in his presence alone. Great job to Bolo. He finally got picked off, though, thanks to the diligent patience of DZ. Eclipse was doing a great job there, just being in the right time. Or sorry, in the right place at the right time, pardon me. Now, following those picks that DZ managed to get down below, finally getting what they were, targeting for, the site push looked like it was actually going to go the way of DarkZero. They managed to even establish the man advantage because of the overcommitment from DZ downstairs. But you talked about the experience in all these players, and, well, Chala's certainly showed there. He pushed up aggressively into server, knowing that if he lost control of the bottlenecks, the rotation on 90, and the window vault from Rafters to server, then Chala would ultimately lose the round. He also knew that he had the best weapon you could possibly have, or the best weapon set even, between the SMG-11 and the SAS shotgun, to hold those bottlenecks at a close range. So Chala did exactly that. Well, I gotta say, we've seen TSM already win this half, and they're doing it fairly dominantly. Some flashes of brilliance from DZ, but overall, TSM just seemed to have an ever so slight edge round to round.
I mean, you were right. I was wrong.
About
by
what?
the way. At least so far. When you were like, I think TSM's going to claw it back and we're going to see a third map. And I was like, no. Incorrect. It is obviously a very close one. But this round might be the dam starting to break for TSM as DZ gets their first opening pick in a couple
They didn't
of
check
rounds.
the corner. I don't think they saw Bolo.
I think Bolo is
Oh,
undetected.
that's risky.
I mean, he's also vigilant.
He hasn't been using his ability, though. He wasn't... Oh, that might have
Exactly.
seen him.
No, I think it's
It
looking
looked
the
at
other
him for a
way.
brief second. I swear. We'll find out, I guess, in a few seconds.
We'll wait and see as Bolo literally sits on... I think he's on the urinals. Oh,
Close again.
did that one go by him again? I don't think that one saw him either.
It
I think
didn't.
they...
The way... No, it didn't.
No.
Oh, it finally will.
There you go. Now they finally seen him. Okay, there you go. He immediately engages his cloak and he runs right into the waiting arms of Skies. The Thermite is there, prepped and ready, and DZ will continue to push forward. They seem to be doing a decent job on this entry, and they have command now as TSM seems quite insistent on just giving up early picks. None of these players from TSM are currently supported. They are all making individual plays, and even though it looked like Achieved was going to be doing a good enough job there, well, obviously it wasn't enough. So that's going to leave Chala in a 1v5. This is extremely challenging.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. We've seen the SAS operator in the 1v5 multiple times through this series. Usually it's actually DZ. But no matter what, it's just not going to happen. Flawless round for DarkZero. Well executed. You kind of summarized, honestly, the analysis of that round. What really happened when you were talking about how TSM is trying to take individual fights. That was really their major undoing. They were attempting to work together, but when TSM went to link up with each other, it's like the person one of the players on TSM is trying to link up with dies before the backup player can get there, and then that player dies in the transition, and it all just goes awry for TSM. That was a real bad round there for the defense. You could call it a flash in the pan. It's the first we've seen TSM fumble the ball quite like that. However, we've been seeing some fumbles from DZ and some really good rounds from DZ, so I'd say that this is just what you're supposed to expect at this point. Both squads are having a lot of high-risk, high-reward rounds, and by that I mean they're playing in ways that could easily result in a stomp, but if you fail, you are the ones who get stomped, and in that round, well, TSM's roam failed. And they got brushed aside by DZ. Love the patience from DZ in that round, by the way. They could have easily lost that had they been a little bit more, I guess, presumptuous with their droning and roam clear. And, well, DZ wasn't. They were very thorough.
5 seconds left.
I also think they, like you said, I also think that it was a pretty big help of
Designated staging area.
TSM just playing individually. Every single member of TSM died with not another member even remotely close to them. So, you know, which can be okay. You can see that style of play, whether it be on attack or defense, flourish if teams are very well coordinated, especially on attack. Not every team needs to be within striking distance of each other, especially if they're droning for one another. You might not actually be that far removed from the aid of your teammates because the drone is doing quite a bit of work, but obviously on defense, it's an entirely different game. So.
Well, it was a weird round overall. I mean, whether it was the individual play or just the setup. High risk, high reward. No matter how you look at it. But this round, here and now, 2 minutes left. DZ Well, I think they're trying to clear out the roamers. There's quite a lot of them here for TSM. And that is known to DarkZero. C4 goes to the... Okay, there's... Huh. Well, C4 goes outside and doesn't land on anything. Maybe there was an X... No, not an exothermic. It couldn't have been an exothermic charge. I don't know what that was. Maybe a Selma.
I don't know what the play was there. Maybe it could have just been a wrong call, Michael.
Yeah.
For all we know, they might have thought they had information that they did not.
True.
So
well, C4 not used there for TSM, or not used effectively for TSM. And the roam, though, will persist. You can see they're trying to contest upstairs. Merc's going to eat some damage in that endeavor. A little bit of an exchange, though, as Mint also does eat up. Geo and Merc both downed and both finished off. So TSM now back foot. And it'll be a third kill for DZ on the roam clear as the Chief goes down. Well, Parker, they heard you. And TSM was trying to play more together. But ultimately, it just made the kills come, well, more together for DZ.
yeah, making it a little bit easier for them. And another flawless round for DarkZero is very much a possibility. But you need to protect Mint at all costs, as he is a single bullet away from death. 45 seconds is plenty of time for DZ to be able to pull off some form of execute, and given that they haven't surrendered a single pick, I would say that they're probably in good shape to do that. TSM do have some utility at their disposal, namely the 3 gas canisters, make that 2 from Chala, and with 30 seconds left, now's the time to start using them. Perfectly timed at the bottom of main stairs. There goes Bolo, so Chala will be in a 1v1 engagement at the bottom of the stairs. He takes out Eclipse, immediately pivots over towards Moto. Shotgun out, but he's not going to be able to connect. It's not a flawless round. TSM get a single kill, but that's all she wrote. The first half over. TSM with a commanding 4-2 lead coming off of a hot defense on Clubhouse. Hey, I actually have that exact guitar.
Wait, the one they have in the DarkZero cam?
No, it's in the in the map.
Okay. I was wondering what you were talking about, and I was like, wait a minute, how do you know you have the one in the game?
Look at it. Looks the
Well,
same,
I mean,
Michael.
how do you know that one's... Well, okay.
I guess to be fair, the guitar that's in the game
right?
looks to be a triple. It looks to be a triple pickup Gibson SG with a full pick guard, whereas mine is only 2 pickups and it's got the half pick guard. But same color, same. The SGs are all the same shape.
So you don't know it's the specific model. You just know it's like around the same kind of.
I mean, it looks identical,
right?
But who knows? There's no brand. It's not like Rainbow Six is sponsored by a guitar company to put those guitars in the game.
But it just looks similar. Got it.
Almost identical, I would say. It's the same guitar model that's in every map that has guitars, by the way.
Well, yeah, they reuse models quite a lot in Siege.
Yeah, there's one on the stage, I think, if I remember correctly. There's one on the stage.
Piano? Or
on
this
here,
stage,
yeah. I think there's one on the stage here. Yeah,
there it is.
In the left corner.
You have that one?
Yeah, it is. It's a triple pickup.
Is yours red as well?
Okay.
Nice.
Yes.
How many guitars do you have, Parker?
Also, Coastline has 3 of them. I think it's a black model and a red model.
Coastline has less guitars than you? Fewer guitars, pardon me. English.
I don't know how many guitars Coastline has.
You said it has 3.
Geo, by the way, first bit of action. Coastline has 3.
What?
Enough talking about me, more talking about
Sorry,
TSM
I find you incredibly
right now.
Parker.
Oh, thanks, Michael. Maybe we can talk later, buddy. Anyway.
DZ setting up on the cash defense here, and well, they're finishing their prep now. So much to do in that early stage of the round. Goyo being brought, he'll be a huge hindrance to the attack. You have to clear out all those shields, and it can be an utter pain. That early damage done to Geo will probably have a large effect on the round, though not certainly. Maverick is tricking the wall, though he need not. There is a mute jammer on the wall. He could simply make a hole and shoot it and allow for one of the, Ace to open it up. But he's going to do his job because, that's why they brought the Maverick. Ace can use his Selmas on other things because of that. But he's going to need someone to clear out the mute jammer on the garage wall. Impact goes out. I'm not sure that's actually going to catch the Selma, though, because it was placed so low. And, in fact, it did not. So... unfortunate there for DZ, or Mint specifically. He cannot get that Selma. It's just too low on the wall. He's going to have to rely on the mute jammer to save it.
Pressure from TSM right now is going to be up top, leading onto the balcony with Bolo down below. Not obviously having as hot of a game statistically as the Bolo fans, whatever you want to call them, are used to him
stands
having.
is appropriate. They're quite fanatic.
They are. A lot of people are like, "What does "stan" mean?" It's like, you ever hear that song "Stan" by Eminem? That's what it means. It is a rabid fan, like the character Stan from the song. He is obsessed. That's why they're called.
Thank you,
Stan.
Parker, for the history lesson.
Though it is a much nicer term. It's not used in a negative fashion. Eclipse doesn't understand that there's a cross, by the way. Final minute left of the round here. Bolo is able to pick him apart, playing on Repel on that balcony. So DZ will need to move back towards the bomb site. Hyper in particular, as he's inside of construction. Skies was looking in that general direction as well, with hot and cold ready, primed, all in hand to mow down anybody who walks into his line of sight. TSM's control right now is garage. Merc is just inches away from being able to strike. He's got grenades in his hands. Selmas will go off, and that grenade will go flying through and down Skies. Beautifully tossed. Don't know if they know that you can connect on it, but the Goya will also drop to the bottom floor, so it seems like a retake strat is on the menu here. 2 kills for Mint, 1 for Hyper. Pistol out, unable to outduel Bolo. As down goes Skies, it's Hyper now in a 1v2. He's down below. Nitro Cell, he'll stop it at the last second. There you go. Bolo can't get it in time. What a play by Hyper. DarkZero, with 0 seconds left on the clock, pull off a miracle of their own, and they've now found 3 rounds in a row.
That's a big C4 there, and that round is just as close as some of the rounds TSM were winning on defense. We're getting ever closer on that note to an even round count, where for a time TSM seemed to have a commanding lead. Well, I mean, not seem to. They did. They had a commanding lead, pardon me. So what happened there? Well, TSM did a good job of getting the first pick. Their control was pretty solid, but ultimately their attack ended up being a little bit linear, and it wasn't fully. They tried to pinch in through the breach on the balcony and the garage, but ultimately TSM didn't have control downstairs. They weren't utilizing workshop. DZ was allowed to maneuver quite comfortably within their own bomb site, and all the while TSM is pushing in, they're losing players. Great job there for DZ, specifically Mint. He was playing Malusi in the hallway. Now, you saw that he was actually able to see, what was it, like 3 or 4 TSM players and only managed to get 2 of them. But still, the damage done. TSM's attack somewhat halted, and then that's all that's required for DZ to get the denial from below, because it delayed the plant for a significant amount of time. I actually thought that round was going to go to TSM as soon as they downed, I want to say, Eclipse inside of the site on mute, because he had the C4 in hand. Well, whoever was playing mute. And that C4 could have denied the plant directly in sight. The nade was well placed. I thought that would win it for TSM. They called the push off of it, but just not enough in the end. Anyway, well done to DZ. Now a basement defense. We'll see how they fare here.
Good call from DZ to get Hyper down below, and obviously things working out, and this, just like we saw in Consulate, I suspect this one's going to tighten up. And I always say these things, and then Caster's curse kicks in, and, well, TSM will probably win this round, and I'll sit here going, huh. That's
Caster's
basically where
curse kicks in. Haha.
Why do you have to make it about yourself?
Narcissism, Parker. You should know.
Ah. Oh!
DZ gonna have to deal with an open moto in just a second here, as Merc opens it up with his blowtorch. Now, TSM have full control of the top floor. This is interesting. DZ are not trying an extended roam, which is pretty standard, actually, on the basement these days, because you have to delay. You have to, and if you don't, the attack is given basically every opportunity, which is going to be the case in this round. Whether or not TSM can turn those opportunities into wins is a different story, but they've got the control they need. They're going to open up the drops they need, and the execute can come from just about anywhere. It'll be, as we haven't said in a while, hell in a cell when the attack actually gets to the site take.
I like that Hell in the Cell has been picked up by you, by the
But
way.
I think it was your thing originally, right?
I took it from Easily. All credit goes
Okay, there
to
we go.
Easily. So, Kev is significantly funnier and far more clever than I could ever be. And I do hope that at some point he turns to casting or commentary, should he end up no longer being an active player. That's a tough bit of recoil for the TCSG in the hands of Eclipse, as Geo was really low on HP, finds his second pick now as he governs over the hatch. And Michael, it's happening. It's happening. TSM is going to win this round. It's mint in a one. That's it. And they won the round. And I am.
You are?
Remember when I said that, oh, DZ's working their way back. This one's going to be real tight. And then I said, and the caster's curse suggests that TSM is going to win. And I'm going to sit here going, huh. I'd like to let you know that I am indeed sitting here going, oh.
It's okay, Parker. It's not your fault.
So
the chat will blame you, but what do they know? Not your fault, Parker. They're there. That was me patting Parker on the back from
thank you. I
across
appreciate
the
that.
two countries. Anyway, the execution there. Yeah, big round for Geo. He got 2 kills, as you mentioned, on a sliver of HP, we can call it. It was really like more like 15, 20. Could have died to anything, didn't die to anything. And TSM took those 2 entry kills and turned it into an absolute wipe. I thought it would be more of a brawl. I thought DZ would show TSM a fight, but not so. Geo pretty handedly got that entry, and it just all turned into chaos for DZ. Now, that was just one round. DZ is going to re-up on the bottom floor. We'll see if they can manage this the second go-around. I think it's going to be less one-sided this time. I am curious to see if DZ is going to roam. That's my main complaint about the DZ setup last round. Because, again, when you don't roam on the bottom floor, you afford every opportunity to the attackers. Like you just give them the 2 top floors. The attack wastes no time droning them out, clearing it out, and starts using all of the time on picking apart your site. And even though Capitao is banned, which I'm guessing is why DZ banned Capitao, because they wanted to anchor down here, it's just still not easy to hold this the way that DZ is trying to.
There'll be a test to them now, as it's another church defense, and they'll be praying that they'll win this one. If not, it's match point for TSM, and then we have Cafe. This is honestly, regardless of what happens in the next 2 rounds, this will have been a pretty brisk pace set by both of these teams, as we're only 2 hours into the broadcast beginning, and we are maybe a couple minutes away from map number 3. All said, it's been pretty dominant from both of these teams on these respective maps. We'll see if it continues at all, or what we'll go about here. Is it looks like DZ is quite content, nestled in that basement. All 5 members. It doesn't appear that they're doing much off-site. It's a very similar setup to what they had last time, if not identical, by the way.
It's pretty darn. I don't remember if they had the Mira. Did they? Do you remember if they brought?
I mean, in terms of
positioning, yeah. In that they're not roaming.
Right.
DZ is not roaming.
Yeah, Eclipse was in the spot. I think that Hot and Cold is in now for most of the round with the TCSG in hand.
Really? Yeah, wow. He's using the TCSD 12. So that weapon was nerfed pretty heavily and has fallen out of favor for most players, but it occasionally does show itself to those who do not like the Vector on Goyo. Hot and Cold gets opened up on from above, and he'll fall further away from Deep Arsenal, trying to preserve his life. C4 has been used on the Mira, so no success from that. Unfortunate for DZ, very fortunate for TSM. TSM still plenty of time, as they are well set up. Second C4 will land, though. Down goes Geo, who did so much work in the last round. And the drop is not open, which means Merc would have to, and that's just not going to happen. Blue, though, is in control of TSM, and they're actually going to get Church as well. Look at this wide swing from Merc. He should be able to turn this into a kill and full Church control, but not so. Hot and Cold on the long angle will pick him off. That's a big kill. Bolo gets Eclipse, who is trying to regain control of Blue. Not gonna happen. Bolo's there and ready, but he'll be felled by Hot, who gets his 3rd kill and the 4th. Skies will pick up 1, but Hot and Cold the real hero of that round. He was quiet in map number 1. Not so in this round and map.
He very shrewdly played around his positioning inside of Arsenal. He was using the bomb chassis and then the crates to his advantage, playing around the wall, playing around the pillar, and constantly just maneuvering as best as he could. You know, his first line of sight playing by those crates was inside a church. He manages to save his teammate's life, then positions himself towards blue, gets a kill there, pushes down towards where the opening was in the hallway inside of Arsenal, and then holds that angle as well. And I believe that's where he found his last 2 kills. So all told, yeah, he was quiet on Consulate, but this defense so far, 3 rounds, he has been pretty decent. As for DZ, it was a defense that was trying to force TSM to head through blue, and that's exactly what they did. The way that they had held the bottom of main stairs, and TSM seemed quite reluctant to deal with that, decided that their best bet was to go push blue. Well, you know from the previous setup that Mint is going to be hunkered down inside of that escape tunnel, and I suspect that TSM had droned that out as well. So you need somebody inside of blue to look long range to deal with the Malusi who's going to be trying to return fire. The good thing is we've seen so many times that you'll have a defender sitting inside a dirt tunnel, and they'll end up being last alive by virtue of them being too far away from the fight. Everybody else will get picked off, either roaming or on the bomb site, and then it leaves you in a position where you have to escape that tunnel, as funny as the name might suggest, and you're probably not doing it alive. So DZ just tweaked a couple things with their setup, and they focused on blue. They knew where TSM were going to come from, and they were prepared for it. And Hot and Cold in particular was the most prepared for it.
Not only was he prepared in that round, but he's been doing great for this entire map.
Oh.
Hyper, on the other hand,
He went for a
is
run
going to
out.
get shut down on his run out. He's chilling outside the building now, and Bolo is all the happier for it as he continues to impress with his statistics. Now DZ are on the back foot in what could be match point round for TSM. That's going to be a cause for concern for the defense. Selma's opening up the garage, and an impact will miss. I think it went too wide, and so the garage... No, it gets a little bit of it. So no rotation here on Mint's panel, and he maybe isn't known in Harry Potter. He peeks and doesn't full check it, though. He could have gotten a kill there, but he'll retreat and get out with his life at the very least.
Bomb located by attackers.
So the hunt continues inside of garage, but with Geo outside this time. Nobody's playing down by the bikes. It's Eclipse all alone upstairs. As you can see, the various TSM members Spider-Man their way to the top of the building, and drone work underneath Eclipse. This one from Geo has achieved will head through that main door. Now, Buck doesn't have grenades anymore, but you can still flash up and allow somebody to swing from the main door of garage. Grenades will be in the hands of Merc, but his job is going to be far more important. If he has already opened up the wall leading into CCTV, then I suggest that it might actually be a little bit less important, and it does appear that that wall's been opened. So you've got one wall open, you've got some of the garage opened. TSM are just slowly closing in on DZ and are juggling their gadgetry quite well. Off go the ADSs as Eclipse looks for the fight towards the doorway. Takes out Geo, ready for the second as the grenade moves. Just nails Chala. Eclipse on top of the rafters. He's lost a tiny bit of HP. Finally blows up to the grenade down below. But he's dragged 2 members of TSM down with him. And the final 45 seconds will be a 3v3 between these teams.
There's also Evil Eyes in play still for DZ. Plenty of utility. The gas canisters as well. Mint could even flank. We'll see. He's playing in Workshop. He can run out on that server window and deny a plant himself. TSM are up against a wall with very few options right now. They do at least have Diffuser ready and in hand for that plant attempt. First gas canister goes, and it's doing quite a lot of damage there. Actually, somehow Merc is outside of the radius. But, well, TSM are delayed at the very least. Great angle played here from Maestro, but he loses it to Merc, who lands a beautiful shot. There's the run out we talked about. Mint gets Merc, and it's a double run out, but it's stalled out. Skies will get the planter, but it's post-plant now, and it's all on Bolo. In the 1v1, he loses it to Skies. A beautiful shot, and DZ will tie up the round count 5-5.
So defense obviously proving to be the better side for both these teams, as we would come to expect. TSM will need to win one more round, but overtime is incredibly likely, which will favor DarkZero as they will go on to defense twice here at home on their map. DZ has not led here on Clubhouse, and they are coming very close to doing just that. What a retake it was. I think Mint got into a bit of trouble desyncing through those windows, but other than that, the moment that he popped through the window, he was essentially bait because he gets punished as Skies nails the last member of TSM and then gets the final pick before disabling that diffuser. All told, it was exactly what you come to see and come to expect from a team that is as well coordinated as DZ has been so far today. And with how much this map has tightened up, it now puts DZ in a bit of a rough spot. Because they've won Church and Cash, they now need to defend a bomb site that teams don't exactly have the greatest luck on, which is the Gym and Master bomb site. This would also mean that no matter what happens here, we will need round number 12. That's when that bottom floor will reopen. I think that DZ will be quite confident in going down there again. If they don't, the only other option will be bar stock. And I mean, I don't think they're lunatics, and I don't think they would put the match on the line with that bomb site.
I don't think anybody really would. We've seen it. I want to say we've seen it before, but it's such a rare thing, and it usually doesn't work. Because you don't know, right underneath Gym is the bar defense, and it's bad. It's real bad. And that's all there is to say about it. So, DarkZero, Gym, as you stated, setup's going to be based around the Mira window. And this Mira is actually really powerful. I like that we're seeing Mira. Honestly, it's a little bit refreshing. We haven't really talked a lot about her, but she's not as oppressive as she used to be. And she's still she changes the way that the game is played, to be sure. But she's not the greatest concern, per se, and she's just kind of fun when you see her these days because she's so rarely seen. Maverick tricking going onto the wall here for TSM. They're trying to get that open. Shouldn't take them too much effort, to be honest. And yeah, there you go. Job done. Now somebody will come over and open that. Probably going to be achieved using the skeleton key.
The primary focus of Hot and Cold, who's playing inside of the bathroom with the wall soft next to him and a mirror window at play as well. TSM will need to use those secondary explosives in the hands of Merc to try and deal with the bandit, or they could just simply smoke it off. Hot and Cold realizes that this isn't a fight he's likely to win, so he's going to need to drop one of those bandit batteries, the shock wires, onto the wall to try and make the entry from TSM a little bit more challenging. Bolo gunned down from Hyper down below, and it appears that Hyper will actually be able to get away scot-free as he heads for the basement and goes for the long roam and return to the bomb site. With the bandit battery dropped on that wall as well, and TSM having 2 EMPs, it shouldn't be too much of a challenge for Hot and Cold, who's still got one of those wires in his back pocket. There's a grenade in hand. He sees the Maverick, and the grenade will go off, but to no avail. There goes the bandit battery, and a Selma will drop down, so you're going to have to shoot it and do your best. Will Hot and Cold get it in time? It does not appear that he does, and he pays for his sins inside of the bathroom. 1 minute left, just under a minute left, rather. DZ with a numbers
Seemed like
advantage.
Hot and Cold was not used to the EMP disabling and not destroying there, or maybe he just expected the nade to destroy the battery. Either way, DarkZero still have the man advantage. And as we come close to the end of this round, TSM don't seem to have any in on the bomb site. And that's going to get really tricky as Geo will get Skies in sight. That's big. And bad timing for Eclipse. He doesn't deny the vault as he could have. And there's nobody left on the balcony. Good angle there from Mint, though. He'll get one. The planter is not able to stick it. He doesn't have any cover. Here's the re-up on the color, though. It's Chala to get 2. Geo now going for the plant. He'll get it down successfully. And it's going to be a 1v2 post-plant. At least the Ace's position is known, but it doesn't matter. A trade. And TSM match point against all odds.
Despite the bomb site working against DZ, you have to admire the way that they set it up, especially those Miras. They're playing back in logistics. They're playing inside of the bathroom. They are in such a strong spot to hold these long angles, and ultimately it comes down to a series of gunfights as the off-site players from DZ need to make their return But there's only so many ways into the bomb site, and TSM is very aware of that. Despite the fact that that gym wall was largely still intact, the TSM members were smart enough to lay prone and watch the doorway from construction and the other doorway that was leading from logistics that goes through the master side. So, I mean, TSM found themselves in a pretty bad spot. They didn't really have a lot going for them at the mid round, but they win it in a couple fights, leaving the remaining offsite players of DZ with no post-plant utility at their disposal. The nitro cell that could have possibly been thrown does not end up going out. The gunfight is lost. There's no toxic canisters to try and slow them down. You don't have to worry about any pressure from below. DZ invested solely in trying to stop the entry from TSM. After that, their hope was to try and catch them with the wall shot open in logistics, the wall shot open in closet, the wall shot open into gym. Couldn't do it. TSM read it very well, whether that be that they knew the setup and the intricacies behind it, or whether they just simply droned it out. TSM were prepared for the lines of sight that DZ had.
Locate and defuse a bomb.
That was really unfortunate timing there for whoever was, yeah,
I
the
believe it was
Malusi.
Mint.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was big F. If he just held the windows, that round would have gone straight to DZ because no one would have been able to vault past him. But he can't know that. I mean, he doesn't have the, you know, ability to see through walls like we do. So unfortunate for him that he wasn't aware. I just figured he would have played it off the timer. Anyway, DZ, basement defense. We'll see how they fare here. It's been hit and miss for them downstairs. And this time they're going to roam. They will actually take themselves off the site and try and delay the same way TSM did when they were defending this site. TSM is ready for this, obviously. They'll be droning out and trying to be thorough about their clear. Quite a lot of roamers. There's actually 4 of them now. As Hot and Cold comes upstairs.
And it's a church defense. They're going to rely on skies, but as we say that, they've been recalled to the bomb site. So back they go. It was a great defense on this bomb site before, in large part because of the way Hot and Cold played it and the fact that TSM stacked up over by blue. So if they don't push through that blue part of the map and instead decide to hit kitchen or even possibly hit from the dirt tunnel, etc., there is better playmaking potential from TSM there. And I would be kind of surprised actually to see TSM try to do the exact same take, knowing that it didn't really end up being that successful.
You see what's going on here? Lots of utility being used on those mute jammers that were set up on the top floor to deny information via drones. So even after the defenders fell back, TSM still were forced to clear it out because they knew there was a roam upstairs. So that was a lot of utility. 2 EMPs used upstairs just to determine, hey, they left 40 seconds ago. And, well, it's not TSM's fault. That's just them being thorough. It's DZ playing around the thoroughness of TSM and forcing out that utility usage. Now, it's going to be a setup for TSM to execute onto the bottom floor. They've got plenty of solid utility to do some work vertically and start making these anchors defense a little bit more difficult. It's not done yet, though. Impact tricking is a play Eclipse can use inside of Arsenal to deny the drop getting opened up.
Bit of a miss from Eclipse onto the legs of Achieved a couple seconds sooner, and that could have been the death of the sledge. You're going to need to impact as well as you can. I can't tell if it actually was successful. Next exothermic charge is going to go. There goes the impact, but no, it should be able to go off right in front of Geo. He'll need to do good coverage work. Hot and Cold falls. He's the very first casualty, but then Bolo joins him right after. Both these teams will now need to fight from behind. DZ cleaning up, and there's only one more left for them to find. Overtime is very much on the menu, boys and girls, as Hyper concludes round number 12. We're going to OT with DZ on defense twice.
I have no idea, Achieved. To be honest, we're seeing it too. Anyway, all right, what happened that round? Well, the main star of the show is TSM's clear on the top floor. Oh boy, was that a big deal. It was so much time wasted by DarkZero. Looks like the admin is actually going to preemptively call a rehost, and that's sensible. I think we can all see why that's happening. Anyway, that was quite an interesting round. So
we get Cafe.
We'll find out which one it's going to be in just a moment. DZ starting their defense off on Cash. So the attack will be bringing a pretty standard lineup. There is no Buck. Instead, they're bringing the Sledge, likely for more explosives. Maverick will be able to trick the wall. Thermite's going to probably open up some other things, whether it be the garage or the workshop. Mosey's been a big advantage for both teams when she's brought. Goyo 6-picked into a mute. That's a big change there. I wonder what the mute is going to suggest.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Probably an extended roam of some sort. I would think the mute would be present on a basement defense, and I would expect them to try and hide the mute on the basement defense. But why on the Cash defense? I'm wondering where those jammers are going to go. Are they just going to be on the walls, or will there be something more interesting happening here? We'll find out. Obviously the walls, yeah, but he's got 4 of them, so he can place them in many different places. We did see some good use of the mute last time DZ was on Cash. It actually managed to save the wall that Mint is reinforcing right now, or rather, just finished reinforcing. So maybe that's what's going to happen here again. And yeah, some pretty standard... Whoa, okay, there's 2 of them there. Somewhat standard mute jammers coming out here from Mint. One for the window there, one for the wall. I think that actually could be big for DZ, but there is a Thatcher in play, so they do have a kind of counter, in a manner of speaking. One thing to note is that Ace isn't here.
The curiosity that I have is that if an EMP gets thrown at the wall, will it be far enough to blow up both of them, or maybe just one? That's the question,
maybe the one by
right?
the window.
Whether it, yeah, that is what I am most curious for. Hyper is literally lying on top of it, so maybe if they drone it, they'll think there's only one. I don't.
Well,
I'm trying to figure out what kind of game is being
it's
played
only temporary.
here.
The mute jammer is to try and save the wall, right? And the EMP disables it.
Right.
But the thing to consider is that, well, since there's no Ace in play for some reason, there's no ranged hard destruction, so it's not something that DZ even needs to worry about.
They've managed to open up that wall, and if the previous attack on Cash from TSM is any indicator, you're going to see Bolo go on to repel and watch the opening. He's positioned over by Stock right now, and, well, there is one Claymore on the board from Chala. It is likely gone over by the garage door. That would be my guess, just to prevent that run out, and yeah, there it is, given away by its shadow on the door. The last time that DZ defended here, it was Eclipse's one-man army of his heroics on the top of the catwalk to watch as he got pressured from down by bikes and then by the main door. If he continues that level of play and can replicate that success, then the rest of DZ are going to be in good shape. TSM, meanwhile, have circled the wagons and are now over by construction. And they're going to drone on into Cash, whereas Hot and Cold is taking a couple preemptive shots into that construction portion of the map.
Hot and Cold is in a really tricky spot here. It's not easy to stay alive in this position, and he's trying to impact trick, but that exothermic is placed low, and the nade will land. The wall gets opened up as a result as soon as they deal with, I believe, what appears to be a mute jammer. That's the only reason I can explain why they haven't detonated it. No, mute jammer gone. They're just waiting, or no? Oh, they must have destroyed themselves on accident? Yeah, it seems that way. Geo will go for attempt number 2. Hot and Cold might even make it out alive thanks to the gas canister. Meanwhile, downstairs, Chala's certainly going to get Mint, but he actually gets a call from his teammate. The camera is still alive, and Chala will retreat, leaving Mint downstairs. The kills are coming out here for TSM, and they'll get 2 on the site. Hot and Cold did make it to the top of red, but he did also die to a nade eventually. So, as much as he crawled, he couldn't get away. TSM in full command of this round, but they only have 20 seconds left for the execute. These gas canisters are doing a great job of delaying the round and forcing TSM into a worse and worse position. Mint doesn't have C4. He's got an impact, but he might be able to deny from below. Skies gets 1 on the entry, but it's a back and forth that Bolo comes out on top of, leaving just Mint in the 1v3. He needs to deny for but 3 more seconds. If he has the info, he'll be able to do it. It's right above him, but he doesn't. He does not have the information. He'll impact fruitlessly. And now a 1v3 retake and a post plant, but he'll at least get a single kill. Pistol out. He can reload. He's got 40 seconds. He needs to realize that. Forcing his way into the garage. He's looking for a way up. Goes for the run out. And the Claymore that was placed at the beginning of the round will clinch it out. TSM win the attack and take round number 1 of OT.
Claymore, no more.
Oh, gosh.
Tough to do when you have no intel. Everything started to fall apart for DZ on what I'm sure was the chaotic situation involving Mr. and Cold. as you have to expect that he knew a grenade was coming. He gets flashed out. He turns away from it. You know there's no ADS charges there. You don't have to worry about magnets. So a grenade is about to get dropped on your head like an anvil. And it does. It blows him up. And then TSM were able to sweep in, even though they did have that issue with the exothermic charge on the construction wall, whether it was of their own doing or somebody else's on DZ's end, we don't exactly know. But regardless, you had to expect Houghton to try and get out of that position. Now, the thing with where Hot and Cold was sitting was he had impacts, presumably in his pocket, that he was going to try to stop the exothermic charge, and he was very concerned with getting pushed from the doorway of construction in case somebody was posted up there. And obviously there was no information for him to read off of, but he needed to be able to get out of there as quickly as he can. TSM also had Bolo at that opening in the CCTV wall. Now, just having that wall open for as long as it did meant that Eclipse, who was playing on Catwalk, wasn't really able to make it back to that B-bomb site safely without somebody watching him. It also meant that a cross from the top of Red to the B-bomb site, or even into Cache, would need to be done by the rotate that Skies was playing off of at the top of Red. And because of that, TSM were basically able to pinch and separate the members from DZ just by holding two different positions, which was inside of construction and out on the balcony. That focus that they had on opening up that wall really, really early significantly aided them once they transitioned over to construction.
So now DZ has to replicate TSM's success, and that is not an easy task as, well, the attack has been really strained to win for both teams so far through this series. Selma's opening up the wall. No Maverick tricking this time around. They didn't bring a Maverick, instead opting for a Thermite Ace. A little bit of a different thought process there for DZ. But this works out fine, because you do have the Thatcher unbanned. He can facilitate a Thermite, Exothermic, and an Ace Selma. You can see that DZ is going to want to take into Workshop and go for a pinch strategy. Their goal is to get a two-pronged assault off, and well, they're probably going to be able to get that. Chief is looking to delay it, though, from the main stairs. Drop will open up above, but it shouldn't really put too much pressure on Chief since it's above the pool table. And really, DZ just trying to be thorough in the droning. Chief actually falls all the way back. That's probably the right call. Bolster your defenses near the site. Allow for downstairs presence. And, who knows? Maybe you can deny the plant from below when it comes to the dying seconds of the round.
Let's go all the way back to when TSM defended Cache and they allowed Achieved to exist for as long as he did, and then DZ got caught from the back due to none other than the flank of Achieved. And if he can be as strong as he was on those main stairs, then he's going to be in a great spot. Bolo, first engagement. I think they managed to impact that exothermic charge, by the way. So Skies is going to have to go for it again while being very cautious of Bolo playing down below. Impacts will be successful yet another time. It's Bolo to use his second explosive, and Eclipse gets punished by Merc. Only 4 kills left for TSM to propel us to a third map, and they are in a good position to do so right now.
Great position at that. 7-6 for TSM, and they're looking to make it 8-6. No 3 rounds as I'm sure most would have hoped. TSM on the flank, though, will be shut down. Bolo not able to do any more work. He did great work, but no, he's shut down. And on the entry, DZ is really coming alive. 2 for Mint, or rather Skies, and 1 for... Well, there's the third. Sorry, I couldn't get it all in. DZ, an absolute collapse into the site, and they leave no time for banter. What a vicious execution.
Yeah, holy smokes. They just absolutely steamroll on in, and the attackers are having an absolute coming out party right now. They are doing so much work on attack, picking through these defenders. Despite the fact that DZ had the advantage of defending twice, it hasn't made much of a difference at all. So you have to roll the die here on this 15th round, no matter what. We are going to go all the way, and DZ are going to go downstairs to Church, which is, I don't think, the wrong decision to make. This is not the bomb site that they were perfect on. It was Cache. They lost it for the very first time just 2 rounds ago. They looked much better the last 2 times they went down to Church, and they're bringing the lineup that was as effective previously as it was the time before that.
Yeah, I agree with you, Parker. I think this is... Well, you said it a little bit more carefully. You said, I don't think this is the wrong decision to make. But I would go so far as to say bottom floor is the right decision for DZ. As you noted, it's been hit and miss for them, but they figured it out in the end. DZ figured out how to defend this bottom floor in the end. One thing to note here is that they aren't bringing the mute, which suggests that they will not be using the extended roam that was so successful the last time they used it. They're trying to keep TSM on their toes, and I think DZ will benefit from that at the very least. However, I am also very worried for DZ. If they don't delay at all, TSM's execution onto the site is liable to be lethal. They typically are just that when they've got everything going their way. So TSM, if allowed freedom of reign on the top 2 floors, should take this one, to be honest.
Swapping mates.
We'll see what they can do as Mint on the main stairs got a little bit brave with his engagement before heading on back. DZ are not putting anything at risk right now. Nobody off site, keeping them all close enough. That initial skirmish that had happened, which was Mint basically just firing into the wind, will not do anything, as you can see. Maverick work also being done as Chala will hold blue to see if anybody chooses to push up. Hyper could have been picked off, by the way, as Chala goes onto a drone.
Yeah, very risky.
Now TSM come for this blue hatch.
See what they can do here. In setting up for the execution to blue, it's likely to be a double-pronged assault between blue and kitchen, which is typical, but it could also be blue and moto, which is also opened up. Hyper falls off as soon as there's no chance to get the kill. He's got the mirror window to hold blue, so he doesn't have to take the risk, but he takes the risk anyway, and all shots missed from Merc. Oh, no! Only the ankles exposed there for Hyper, but still, nothing landed. Damage done to achieved, but it's an exchange, as Houghton eats some of his own from the L85 of Sledge. DZ and TSM not letting each other take a single step without some pressure applied. Still C4 in hand here for Eclipse, and he's going to be able to potentially get a big kill into Kitchen if he plays his cards right. Nade used to clear out the Malusi, and that could be big for TSM as they clear into dirt.
Mint knows he's getting pressured by Elbow, and there goes one of the Goyo shields to do a bit of damage to Merc. He's got no nades remaining, but he's going to continue to hold this angle. Whether or not the Banshee is gone is going to remain to be seen, as it's giving a small massage. But if Mint looks the wrong way, this is a fight that he can't lose. Down goes Achieved as DZ will start things off. Hot and Cold is inside of Escape as well. One for Mint and Eclipse. It's Hot and Cold down, but now Eclipse will join him. So all of a sudden, TSM finds themselves in a 2v2. It's Geo versus Bolo, but there he goes. He sprints on in. Skies wins it at the last second. Welcome to SI and welcome to the Major. DZ close it out as it's a great performance from all 5 members. They take it 2-0 over TSM.
What an amazing performance for both teams. Geo, we didn't see it, but 3 kills as we came close to the end of that round. And wow, it seemed like, okay, DZ's going to lock this out. They've got everything going for them. Suddenly, Geo comes onto the scene with his